Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Nikken Women Creating Wealth Call. I'm really thrilled to be with all of you, and I'm very excited about our guest today. Before I introduce her, I just wanted to mention to all of you that I became aware of a gentleman who's been doing a lot of study on sleep over 20 years, Matthew Walker. He's from the UK. He works at the University of Berkeley in California, and he just recently wrote a book called Why We Sleep. And you can find him on YouTube, and I've also put quite a few links to Quantum Leap International, which is, my business page. So you're welcome to like the page and get anything off there. I mostly do all health things there, some business things too, of course, for us. But he is so knowledgeable and so erudite and so adorable, just so sweet. But gosh, what a scholar, what a scientist. And the stats that he gives about what happens with sleep are phenomenal. He goes into 6 hours of sleep or less, and the cancer cells in the body switch on and proliferate. And if you get 7 to 9 hours sleep, they calm down. That was one. If you're going to have an operation, you want to ask your doctor, how much sleep did you get last night? Because if it's 6 hours or less, his abilities will drop by 170%. I mean, these were amazing things he talked about. Alzheimer's is really connected to lack of sleep over time. The brain isn't cleansing and cleaning a lot. And one of our main technologies, as you all know, is sleep. And we want to leverage everything we can, right, around sleep. So this gentleman, I think, is one of the best people we can leverage. And there are clips on there that are 5 minutes long that you could send people. There are 2-hour interviews that are fascinating that you can listen to and may not want to send as a link. But I did want to give you a heads up about him because I felt very excited by what he's been discovering and how we can leverage that in terms of sleep. And here's the funnest thing is that he says, he says, as we get older, the brain kind of goes into it doesn't sync up very well in deep sleep. And so memory gets lost and you can't put the memories into the files the way they should go and be kind of clear and clean for the next day. And so he said he was working on a magnetic helmet thing that's, electromagnetic stimulation to help the brain to go into perfect coordination and sync up. And of course, we know that our pillow, our sleep system does that. We know it works with the brain in an amazing way to create coherence in the brain, both for thinking in the day, but also at night. So his name is Matthew Walker. If somebody wants to put that in the chat box, that would be wonderful. He's from the UK. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up on him first, because it's very, very exciting what he's discovered. And doctors get 2 hours of study on sleep throughout their whole, 8 to 10 years, whatever it is that they study. So they just don't know about sleep. So we need to become experts on sleep and then really show that our sleep system, that there's nothing like it in the world. And just so you know, I'm hearing more and more, there are companies that are beginning to bring out different technologies with far infrared, magnetics, a few, not a lot. And we have it all. So we've always had the edge in that we've never had any competition, but we are going to start getting competition now from big companies bringing out far infrared comforters and things like that. Big ones. I can't name any names, but it's good for us. It's good for us because it brings awareness to the public and they're like, oh yeah, I've heard about this or I've heard about that. So, they can call it far infrared. Of course, with us, we don't. We just call it sunshine energy, sunlight wavelengths. And that's fine. And that's great that we do that. But just know that out there in the big wide world, there are more and more things coming forward that are utilizing our technologies. Athletic clothing, Under Armour is one that uses special fibers for temperature regulation. I just met a gentleman who works with temperature regulation and he does all that. And I'm like, I know what you're working with. It's far infrared. How exciting. And he's like, yes. And Kenneth Cole is one of his clients and, for in the shoes so that men's feet don't sweat. So this stuff is happening and it's exciting because it validates us. We want a little bit of competition. like it or not. We do, because it validates stronger and stronger that we have something very special. But we have always been the only one. So enough of all that. I am super, super excited to introduce you all to one of my loveliest of friends and business partners, Dalia Bergsagel. She is in London in the UK. She comes from Israel originally. She is a wonderful Nikken consultant, one of the best women we have in Nikken. Super smart, super loving, super passionate, and an amazing team builder as well. Knows a lot about the products, and we always talk about how we love our products more than anything else we've ever seen in the world, and that's why we do this. And so, Dalia, I'm gonna bring you into speaker view, and as soon as you start talking, it's gonna come up speaker view. And I would love you just to tell us a little bit about, you know, your background, how you got into Nikken, you know, and we want to talk about these technologies, what you love about them. So thank you for being with us, sweetheart.
How many hours do we have?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, background. I have two hats, art and health. Art I always had. I went to art school, worked in the States and in England as art director for children's books mainly. Then I was very unwell. I had ME. Well, I was never diagnosed because that was in the 80s, early 80s. So now the doctor said, well, it was fibromyalgia and ME. And started really looking at complementary health, became a shiatsu practitioner. I studied for 3 years, Chinese medicine, shiatsu, was a shiatsu practitioner. And that's how Nikken was introduced to me, because all my shiatsu teachers and the head of the shiatsu school were all using the Nikken products. And I didn't want to hear when they talked to me because I wasn't interested in money. Money was not a motivation for me, and people were talking to me about money. But 2 years later, I hurt my back, and I hurt it really, really badly. So, I mean, I couldn't, for 3 months, I couldn't function at all. I couldn't, the first 3 weeks were terrible. I mean, I was crawling on the floor, screaming, give me drugs, knowing that I'm never going to take any drugs. And I had a lot of therapies over 3 months. Shiatsu, acupuncture, homeopathy, Chinese herbs, osteopathy, and they all helped me. And I started moving around, but what happened was I couldn't sit. After about 15 minutes of sitting, I was in total agony. So I couldn't work in front of the computer. I couldn't sit on the floor and give the shiatsu. And everybody after 3 months said, that's it. You know, we've done everything we can, don't quite know what else to do. The GP was fantastic. He said, just get used to it. Just like that, blasé like this. I was 44 at the time. And he's telling me, he said, but this is what your life is going to be like. You know, just get used to it. And I said, I can't even watch a movie. Forget about work. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, I ended up with a Nikken belt and flex, and felt a difference within 20 minutes. I could sit properly. I could concentrate on what was being said. It was a seminar. I was really excited. I bought it. And within 4 days of using it, day and night, and the 5th morning, I was on the floor giving a shiatsu to somebody. I mean, I got my life back. I got my work back. I could earn money again. And that was just, I got so excited by it. My goodness. And then I understood it was just the tip of the iceberg. You know, I understood, you know, there was a whole concept here of sleep. We didn't have the water then, but I could understand the whole concept here of really connecting us with nature. That made sense to me. And connecting us to nature in a really easy way that doesn't change our lives. It doesn't involve us changing, taking time to do. The only thing we need to remember is go to bed at night. I just love that. So I just started sharing the products. I just gave people products. I bought products to give to people, gave them products. So amazing results, amazing straight away. The statistic isn't always like that, but I got all the amazing results straight away in the first couple of weeks. I mean, there's still some that send shivers down my back. For instance, somebody I know called me to say, oh, I'm coming to visit from Italy. How are you? How this? And he started talking. And I said, well, I'm so happy because for 3 months I couldn't work and now I got my life back. And he said, what happened? So I told him. And then he said, that mattress that you're talking about, because by then I was on the mattress. They had just introduced the quilt actually then. So I didn't even know much about it, but it was the pad I was talking about. And he said, that mattress that you're talking about, is it big? Do you think you can bring it to my hotel room? I said, yeah. I didn't even ask him. It was I just started. I just bought the mattress for myself. It was just after the quilt, I started using the mattress. I said to myself, I'll buy the single mattress. The worst comes to worst, one of the children will use it, if nothing happens with this business, because I wasn't looking at the business then. 19 and a half years later. So I didn't even ask him why he wanted it. The next day he calls me in the morning and he says, I don't know if it's the magnets. I don't know if it's the bumps. Quite frankly, I don't care. How much is this mattress? I'm taking it in the car with me to Italy. Wow. Turns out that for 6 months, he had sciatica problems. And for 6 months, the pain in the leg woke him up a few times a night. So that was the first night that he had that he slept for over 6 months. So he took it to Italy and I said, well, he took it, so I'll buy another one. Few days later, I get a phone call from Italy from a friend of his. I mean, this is how it works, isn't it? She calls me, and she was originally from Australia. She was 52 then, and she was a professional diver. And when she was in her 20s, and it compressed her spine, it affected her spine, and now in her 50s, she was in so much discomfort that when she got up in the morning, for 2 hours, she couldn't move. She was in agony. And her husband used to every morning spend a whole hour giving her a massage. And then she needed a whole hour still to rest. And only then she could get up. I mean, can you imagine? I said to her, well, she said, I'm coming to London for 3 nights. I'm going to be in London. And I said, well, I don't know if this is, you're talking about something really serious here. She says, please, it was October, just when I started. She says, please, Dalia, because the next time we're coming is in April. And if it doesn't work in 3 nights, I'm coming and then I will be there for 10 days. And said, well, yes, why not, And I talked to her on a second day. Mm-hmm. So after the second night, and she said, I don't know what to tell you, Dalia. I don't know. I think maybe I was a bit better today, but maybe it's psychological. Maybe I just want it to work. So I don't know. But anyway, Saturday, I'm going on Saturday to Norfolk. So I can drop it by you. So he said, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll come by and I'll drop it back. And then I'll see you in April. She called, I'm still crying when I talk about it. 19 and a half years later, she said, she calls in the morning. She says, I'm coming, as we said, at 8 o'clock, but I'm coming with a check. I'm taking the mattress with me. It didn't occur. Only after she left, she saw me in the morning, gives me the check, and she says, Dalia, look at me. I didn't need a massage this morning. For her, it was the happiest day. She was in tears, and I don't know. I mean, I was stunned. And only later I started thinking of the woman's life when she's so tired and she goes to bed and she knows what is coming in the morning. Agony for 2 hours like this. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, that was amazing. It was just amazing. So I had to buy a new pad. And it kept happening all the time. So I did not want to hear about the business, not at all, was not interested. And my sponsor, who was my shiatsu teacher, was walking in the street with me. She said, I said to her, enough, I don't want to hear. I'm going to talk about the products. I'm not going to talk about business. And she said, enough, Dalia. She got so upset with me. She said, you're going to make money, Nikken, in spite of yourself.
And you have made a lot of money in spite of yourself.
And the funny thing is that by talking to people, people signed up. They all became, I mean, in the first month, I had 12,500 points, and I think 10 people in my group without talking about the business, just sharing my enthusiasm about what this can do for people. And people became distributors to buy the products themselves. So it was a lot of fun. And it just happened like that, really, you know. I can't say without doing anything, because I was doing quite a lot, of course, sharing my passion. And it took about a year or so until I started sharing my passion about the business. I think we started seeing checks coming in. It's like, ooh, you know. Yes. Also, Eric, my husband, started looking at the compensation plan. He says, this is very clever. He says, this is a really interesting way of doing business. I like that. So then, you know, in the first few months I was on my own, and then he joined, and more we were doing it together. So yes, and I'm here and loving every minute. Yeah.
You just told me even this morning you had a wonderful meeting just today with a woman. Tell us about that.
Yes, there was a man who works with chronic pain, and he got really excited, and he was looking, and he was saying, yes, we can do things probably together. You know, he could see how it works as a therapist. He could see how it would work together with what he does very well. But I had, just last week, there was a friend who is a Pilates teacher who uses all the Nikken products, sent somebody to me because can you just wait 1 second?
Yes, of course.
I need some water.
Yes.
Eric, yes, can I have a glass of water, please?
I know, I wish you were beside me because
my throat became really dry.
Yeah, we get so excited. And one of the beautiful things, Dalia, about you is that your passion, and you're right, Lovey, yeah, your passion and your compassion combined is just really compelling. And I feel like that's been a huge part of your success, is that you're very authentic. Anyone who meets you really gets that you love people and that you want them to be well. You want them to be good, and that it really genuinely makes you tremendously happy to do that. And I think that's a big part of why you're so successful. And you work really, really well with people. You love empowering people. You love lifting them up, as do we all, you know, but you have a very special way about you that I feel is, I'm trying to get our full screen. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So I feel like, you know, there are always secret, because we know you've sponsored many people. I've sponsored many people, and we know that something happens in an exchange. You know, why are some people just able to sponsor many people and others not? Something's happening. It's not about the knowledge so much. Is it? What is it about? Tell us what it's about.
I think what you said about being authentic and being genuine,
yes,
is very important.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think it's
all right. You got so excited. It's all right.
I need far infrared actually on my.
Yes, far infrared will do it. A little far infrared wrap. I've got my
Just wait a
red
second.
belt and my flex here, ready
Just
to
wait.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just going.
yeah. I think all of you on the phone and on the recording here on the Zoom can feel Dalia's energy. You know, our business is all about energy, right? We know that. It's all about energy. And it's just, I'm trying to see how we can do gallery view here so we can all see each other. Yeah. So it's amazing that it's the energetic of who you are being that makes it happen. Yes, we all have the same products, and yes, we all have the same compensation plan, but that's not what, I mean, yes, we have to have that, but it's not fundamentally what makes it happen. It's the energy of you. Who are you being when you're with others? Do you really love them? Do you really care? Are you just trying to sponsor them in order that you do well in business, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it would never work, right?
Yeah. I think it's listening to people with respect and finding out about them.
Yes.
It's not about, oh, I'm building a team and I would like you to be in my team. No, first is, what would you like? Where are you in life? What do you like? But I mean, I'm genuinely put Nikken aside when I talk to people because I'm interested in them. What makes them tick? What are the things that they like? And we get chemistry together. And through that, they tell me things, and then I come back to them. I don't jump on them straight away. Oh, you said this and this, you know, that's why Nikken would be good for you. No, I'm just listening. And then I said, do you know what you said before about this? That could be an interesting avenue for you to look at. You know, that may work with what you do. Maybe it's worth taking a look at this. You know, there's so many people in network marketing who push and I don't know. For me, it's connecting to people and listening to who they are and being with them. And I can't say I'm totally forgetting about Nikken because it's always there as part of my psyche. But it's just about them and just about seeing how Nikken can serve them, not about how they can serve Nikken. It's about how Nikken can serve them. And I think that there's so many interesting things about the Nikken business and building a team and being there for people as a team. And there's so much psychology going on, I realized. For instance, I don't know, I sat with a lady in Russia a long time ago, and she was in her 60s, 70s, I think. No, 60s, I think, but she was an older sort of grandmother. And she was so excited about Nick, and she just loved it. She was so excited that she has a business. She says, all my friends don't know what to do with themselves. You know, they stopped working, and I guess she was maybe 70s. And apart from talking about the grandchildren, there's nothing else in their lives. And maybe they go to a coffee house, but I have something that fulfills me. But my children don't like it. And because I'm not so available for babysitting anymore. And she was really miserable. And we were just talking, and I was just suggesting to her to actually talk to them. And I said, will you be able to speak with them and to say to your sons, well, do you know, I'm surprised at this. I'm surprised at this reaction because I was expecting you to be so happy that your older mom has a new lease on life and she's so excited about something. And now I'm seeing something that, you know, and then I'm just so surprised that you're not with me on it and you're not supported. Would you be able to speak to them like this? Because you never know with relationships. And she was listening. She said, you know what? I think I can, you know? So it was nothing. It was just psychology, basically. There's so much about it's, you know, it really, when it comes down to it, it's love and it's being there for people, just being there, being there emotionally for them. Yeah, I think so. Anyway.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a tremendous amount of psychology in it, for sure. There's no question. And so you said, you know, there are many parts that you love, and you have many miracle stories. I know that, both with the products and with the business, of course, as well. But I think your ability to create team has been extraordinary, you know. And yes, you've made millions as a result, but your ability with people. So yes, you listen. It is all about them. That is right. If it's not going to be good for them, it's not good. And I agree with you. I think a lot of people beat people over the head with Nikken. I even had some people come to my house who know a consultant and said, some of our family won't even talk with her anymore at all. Yes. Because they're so sick and tired of hearing about Nikken. And I thought, that is just tragic, right? That's just tragic. We don't want that. So tell us more, like how it has felt for you, sort of helping people to grow and blossom the way you do.
Well, again, it's about them, you know. So if you go to a convention and you see them standing and getting the platinums and the diamond pins and everything, I want everybody else to be there on stage and get that. I want everybody to be acknowledged. And I can't tell you, I think it's again the same thing. It's about listening with respect, being there for people to support them, listening and to their, you know, whatever it is, if they have concerns about themselves, if they have concerns about products, if they have concerns about this, being there and taking them seriously. You know, not belittling them, taking them seriously, seeing what we can do for them. I don't know, you know, I don't know more to say about team leading actually, more than that, because I think that's the fundamental thing, and being authentic and being genuine and telling, you know, just duplicating that. Yes. You know, making sure. I remember saying, you know, to somebody, there was somebody who was a real connector. She was a young lady with 3 kids, and she was a real connector. And I could see that she's changing. She's changing herself. She's becoming like, well, I'm running a business now. And I said, hang on, you know, I know you have so many people who listen to you in a playground. Whenever they want a plumber, whenever they want a lawyer, they come to you first. Why is that? And she said, I know a lot of people and they trust my job, so they will listen to me in Nikken. I said, yes, they will listen to you in Nikken. But if you suddenly change, you suddenly become a businesswoman and you dress in a different way and you speak in a different way, they won't know what happened to you because they like you, they connect with you. That's why they want to be with you. And suddenly say, what happened to her? Oh, well, it's all because she suddenly now talks about Nikken all the time. But it's about being genuine, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so true. I hope everybody's, let's see if we can exit full screen. I don't know what everybody else is seeing, but I'm seeing all you beautiful faces and you're listening very carefully. And that is the key. And it is strange when people become like, it's all about business, their ego gets all kind of misshapen or blown up. And it isn't. It's about loving. It's about loving people. That's what Nikken is. Loving. What is health? What is healing? If it isn't really loving.
Yes.
Everyone who goes to healthcare is because they want to help. They don't like to see people suffer, and they want to help them.
Somebody asked me 2 weeks ago, I met with somebody who I've known for many years, and I'm doing a lot of art now, a lot of painting and patchwork. And he said, well, are you still in Nikken? And I said, I will always be in Nikken. And he said, why? And I said, well, how can I not tell people? I mean, these products change people's lives. How can I not tell people? You know, I felt it was my social responsibility to let people know what there is, you know, so I share with them the problems. By the way, have you seen the difference with my neck, with my throat?
Yes, I'm sure everybody's noticed. It's totally clear.
It was instantaneous.
Yes.
And what was I saying? Yes, I will always, you know, these people, this product change people's lives? How can I said it wasn't like my social mission, social responsibility to let people know. So I tell them, these are the problems that we are facing nowadays in modern life. You know, with the way modern life goes, with the food we eat, with the water we drink. I have a nice story about water, by the way. With the water we drink, with the way we sleep. These are the problems that we're facing nowadays, and these are possible solutions.
Yes.
Have a look at them, feel them. Yes. I mean, the guy today, my goodness, he's just stood on the insoles and he said, I feel like I'm connected from the top of my head all the way to the floor. He was so grounded. It's just by standing on them. So I remember something about the water. Because we keep talking about how the water gets our water gets absorbed much better into the body recognizes it and it gets absorbed better. Yes. We have a story about somebody who had to have a scan on his bladder, and they ask you to drink a whole liter of water before the scan, so the bladder is full. And he goes in, and the technician is upset and says, "What, didn't you read the instructions? You were supposed to drink water." And he said, I did. I drank a whole liter of water. So your bladder is empty because the water gets absorbed. So it doesn't. And that was the greatest. The ultrasounds showed it, that the liter of water wasn't there in the bladder. It was where it needs to be in all that. And when I went to the hospital to check my eyes, the doctor said, your eyes, the inside of your eyes is so hydrated. It's very unusual to see people with eyes which are so hydrated.
Wow.
And, the only thing is, the Nikken water. I don't know when the last time was that I drank good water. I mean other water.
I know we become water snobs, totally. And yet we had huge results with Nikken technologies before we had water, right? Because you and Absolutely. I go back a ways.
Right, yes, before.
Huge responses, yes. Just magnetics and so forth. So, and I think it is, I love what you're saying about it being a social responsibility, because I feel that very, very strongly myself. Like, how can I know about something like this and not let other people know? That's just not right. That's a travesty.
Yeah.
That's a sin, to not do that.
It's up to them what they want to do with this information, but my job is to let them know. I remember one of my distributors in the beginning was very upset because she gave a sleep system to somebody who had not slept more than 2 hours for 10 years. Because he had been involved in an accident, he was on social benefits, he was basically a zombie the whole day, 2 hours a night for 10 years. And he loved the sleep system. He loved it. He said, I'm sleeping like a normal person. She was so upset. She was so angry. She was angry because he didn't want to buy it. He says, no, I have money put aside because I want to have a new upholstery to my sofa. Yeah. So he decided. And I said, well, you've done what you can. He knows now there is an answer to his problems.
Yes.
His priority is upholstering his sofa. That's fine. It's frustrating and it's sad.
Yes.
It's sad to see that. But
we see it a lot. I've had people say, I want to redo my countertops in the kitchen. And I'm like, we're talking about health here, the primary value of anybody's life, because without your health, you can do nothing. And I feel like it's the most important place for us to put our money. What an
investment.
Yes, where I put my money is in organic foods, Nikken technologies, and working out. I mean, that's because it's my health, and that's primary. And if I have that, I can do everything else. But I'm not going to put, that money into just silly nonsense when it could actually be preserving my health or my family's health or whatever. So I think that's a frustrating part for us, because Nikken isn't always easy. And we're not saying it's always easy. It can be very frustrating when people do make those choices, but you just go, okay, God bless you.
Yes.
I've done my part. I'm moving on, and we move on quickly, right? We don't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know we're watching our time, or I'm trying to watch our time a little bit, and I'm going to put it to gallery view so you can see everybody here. So here's everyone. And don't you guys? Well, let me see.
I can see everywhere. I see you in a big picture, and then I see three very nice smiley ladies.
Oh. Okay, it's so funny. So let's just unmute you all for a minute before we close. I'm going to unmute you all. I think I'm sure you've all really enjoyed and loved Dalia as much as I love her. Do you want to say thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You're an inspiration.
Very inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You really are, Dalia. And I know we talked the other day about how many people we thought you might have affected in your life with Nikken, and we figured it was up in the millions. And
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
that makes me
Wow.
cry in the millions. Dalia is a mover and a shaker, my friends, and so are you.
This
And
is a
thank you all for being on the call. We love you, and let's take Nikken to where it really belongs, which is at the top of the top of the top of the top.
Yeah.
Great gift to bring. So let's not be shy. Let's bring it. Dalia, any last words?
Thank you, Dalia.
Thank you. I look forward to the recording. I've got lots of people to hear it.
I just suddenly realized I called Eric in the middle of the recording. I hope you can edit it.
And no, it's all fine. It's all good. This is us.
It's all good.
This is the sisterhood together. We're happy. Thank you, everyone. Dalia, you are a blessing in our world. Thank you for being such.
I really enjoyed the call.
Yes.
I enjoyed seeing all the lovely faces popping up.
All right,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful May. Let's do great things. Bye, everyone.